So as usual, I have some very good news for all of you. The good news today is that you are the self. You are the self. Now, why is this the good news? What's so cool about this? What's so cool about being the self? What's the big deal? The big deal is that your greater reality is beyond time and space. You see? Now, this is a very big deal. And to recognize this is what Satsang is for. Because so far in our life, we've always identified ourselves with something which is contained in time and space. All our reports about ourselves have been about an object which is within these 4 dimensions. But you are the self, which means that wherever you might be and whatever time it might be, I can say this to you, and it is the truth. You see? That is why I don't have to pick and choose a time, and I don't have to pick and choose a place. I don't have to pick and choose your circumstances. Don't have to pick and choose your relationships and the status of them. Don't have to worry about your monetary status. Because all these things are in the realm of time and space. You are that which is beyond time and space. You are the self. Now there can be some confusion about this. And if you give it to the mind anyway, everything becomes confusing. But one of the confusions about this can be, so if I am the eternal one, then what was I doing before I created the world? And what will I do after the world is gone? Isn't it? Because our eternity can seem like, oh, it is that very long time. See what I'm saying? It can seem like I've just been sitting around for a long time, millions of years, and then I create this world, and then I dissolve this world, and then I'm again sitting around for millions of years. But this is confusion. This is a mistaken notion of eternity. Eternity means that which is beyond time. It is not a infinitely long time. Eternity means that in your light, time and space, they appear. And by your will, they disappear. By the will of consciousness itself, by the will of the self. So to ask what the self is doing when it is not playing with the world is a mistaken notion, because that when does not exist. There is no time there. Now, what's the cool thing about this? The cool thing about this is that yourself right now is not subject to time. Only that which is appearing in its light, this realm of appearances, this content is subject to time. So it is not that your being is getting any older. It is just independent of it. And this is a very important clue. This content is moving around in time and space, but you are independent of these. Your very existence right now, and you cannot stop being. This being is already beyond all time and space. So allow that which is moving in time and space to move. Allow this dance to happen as it will, but recognize your greater reality, which is effortlessly present. Recognize this. You are here. God is here. Self is here. Sadguru is here. But this here is not a here contained in time or space. It is that which contains all things. Now it is some kind of magic that this being, this self, which is beyond time and space, plays as if, pretends as if it is just a mere person, so limited in time and in space. But this is never true about you. So all that we are recognizing is that which is already true about you. And if there are 7 billion conversations which are happening in this so-called world right now, 6.99999 billion conversations must be about you as a limited entity. And it is a very rare conversation which is inviting the recognition of your unlimitedness. And this conversation is called Satsang, the company of the truth. I have some more excellent news for you, which is that as you remain empty of interpretations and judgments, empty of concepts, the recognition of your true self is inherently present. The truth is apparent to you. So you don't even have to struggle with this recognition. You don't even have to struggle with making it stable. It just is. All that can seem to happen is that Bhagavan had this very beautiful example where one day he was sitting with his devotees and using a tiny finger covered his eye. Is it? And devotee said, "What are you doing?" Bhagavan said, "Just like when we use this tiny finger, it can seem to prevent our seeing of the entire universe. In the same way, tiny concept, a tiny notion about ourselves can seem to obscure the greater reality of what we are. The timeless, changeless self. And this is completely apparent to you right now. Meet yourself now and you will see that this is true. All limitation, all boundary, all duration are just notional constructs for you. They have no reality. So if you want to meet the most enlightened being you will ever meet, you want to have the darshan of that which is Krishna himself. Meet yourself without judgment till the notion of meeting itself dissolves. All interpretation, all judgment is about something which is in time and space. Let this realm of time and space move on its own. Let this dance of Shiva for himself entertain you. But now you are done with the idea that you are contained in this dance. That is ignorance. And as you're shining the light of your own self-knowledge, all this ignorance is dissolving. The ignorance that I am a limited something, a mere object in time and space. All that I have said is true about you right now. You are the self. You were never born. You will never die. Time has changed nothing about you. You can never lose yourself, leave yourself. And therefore, you can never find yourself. You can only recognize what already has been. Then the terminology you use, whether you call it God, Guru, or Self, doesn't really matter. These are just words, concepts to point to that which is indescribable. Now the mind will come and say, but what does all of this mean for the body mind, which is located in time and space? And my advice about this is to forget about it. Because if I say that nothing has to change, then the mind will come and say, but the sage looks and appears different. And if I say that your very presence will convey so much love, light, and peace, then the mind will say that this has to happen first. It becomes an expectation. So as you are recognizing yourself to be that, your greater reality to be that, which is beyond time and space, let everything which is in time and space take care of itself. And that especially includes this body mind. Don't wait to find symptoms of freedom in this appearance to mean something for you. You see what you are already, and don't allow any symptoms which seem to convey that you are not free. Don't make a judgment about yourself based on these. For some time, just let it be. Leave the world alone. Leave the body alone. It does not need any intervention from an imagined entity. And as you're discovering yourself to be this self, you will see that all is shining in your own light anyway. So just see if you have a little more attention for 5 moments. Already you've heard very well, I've seen. So all of spirituality is just about how to leave it alone. And Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi had prescribed 2 main paths to discover the pathless reality. What are the 2 main paths? They are surrender and self-inquiry. So when the invitation comes from the mind to make something a thing, you heard from the sages to leave it alone. But the mind keeps inviting you and saying, no, no, this is a thing for you. And the problem is not the thing in itself, but the presumption that there is a limited you who has to take care of that thing. So whatever the mind's invitation might be, surrender it to that higher force, which you feel a little bit of devotion to, at least a little bit of devotion. And say it is the Sadguru's problem, Guruji's problem, God's problem, Father's problem. You don't have to make anything a thing, because everything belongs to the Sadguru now. This is the path of surrender, letting go, what I call remaining at my Father's feet. But you can pick whatever metaphor seems most apt to you. Very simply, you're not making a thing out of anything. A thing is a thing. You know what I mean, isn't it? The second is the path of self-inquiry, which means that when this invitation comes from the mind to make something out of nothing, to convince you that something of your own somethingness actually, then you use that for your self-inquiry. So, for example, if the mind is saying, I am not free yet, which is a very popular notion. You see? It is convincing you that you are a limited entity who needs to get something, which is completely opposed to your own self-recognition, that you are beyond all there is. You see? So if it says, I am not free yet, you inquire and say, who is the I that is not free? And when the thought comes with some answer, you ask, who witnesses even this? If there are some emotions, then you look with a wonder and say, what witnesses even these? As naturally as possible, as playfully as possible, we look for the reality of I. This is the path of self-inquiry. And it doesn't have to be surrender or self-inquiry. It doesn't have to be bhakti or jnana. It doesn't have to be devotion or knowledge. In fact, with one, the seeming second automatically arises. So whatever feels most natural to you is completely fine. So this is the essence of Satsang.